and unity. Real talk, real faith, real community. Real talk, real faith, come and see. We're building up hope together. Three Strands Talks.
Welcome to another ThreeStrands Talks live stream. I'm your host, Mr. Three Strands, and I almost forgot who I was. Good morning, Mark. Good to have you in here. So far, it's just you and me, but that's okay. Where two or more are gathered, right, brother? Oh, it's been a week. I'm just going to be honest. It's been a week. And in the last few minutes, it's been a hectic 5 minutes. Lost everything real quick. Had to put it all back together. Luckily, I've learned how to shortcut the files just a little bit. Good morning, Nicole. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. I am struggling just a bit. I had a minor attack online earlier this week. Somebody didn't like what I was posting. Oh, well. We all know that evil shies away from the light. So it can only thrive in the dark for so long. But that's a topic for another day. It's not today's. So let me just start by saying that I'm really having fun doing this. And if it was just me talking to myself, it would still be fun doing this. I'd still do it. I like having guests on board. So if anybody knows anyone they'd like to have come on, or if you'd like to come on and talk about something, I'm open to it. It doesn't matter, travel related, faith related. It doesn't even have to be my faith as long as we're respectful about it. I will not argue Christianity with anyone because if you ask me, the argument's already won. Good morning, Alberta. Thank you for dropping in. I appreciate your being here. You're faithful to all of us, and I really appreciate that. So today's topic is going to be talking about our travel pet peeves. And it figures. I thought that phone was muted. Anyways, travel pet peeves. You know, most of us that are coming in here like to travel in some way. A lot of us like to cruise. I'm kind of new to cruising. Would I like to be able to be like Malibu or Cruising Chris? Sure, I'd like to have something scheduled all the time. But I don't. I have to work for what I bring in. And I just really am touched that y'all would join me. I have knowledge. I have understanding. I'm a little short on experience, but I'm hoping to correct that as time goes on. Speaking of, good morning, Cruising Chris. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry you debark didn't go as well. But hey, now you got the next one to look forward to, right? That's what we all have, is the next one to look forward to. And I hope after the next one, I have another next one going. But we'll see. So when we talk about travel pet peeves, there are a lot of things that we could come up with. I tried to get a little input in on this, but I didn't really get anything. So I'm flying solo on this. But if you guys have something you want to throw into the chat, I'm watching. And I will definitely put that up and we can discuss what you're talking about. If I hit something on yours and you want to expand on it, please do. Right now, I'll admit that I'm using the Microsoft version of AI, whatever the heck that's called. I can't remember. So, yeah, Mark, I know. And I think that's great. I do. Things If things were looking better for me, I'd be doing a lot more travel, a lot more of the fun kind of travel that I enjoy. So let's get into this. The first pet peeve that I come up with is, well, Cruising Chris, you're right on it. Did you read my notes? And this falls right into the first point, airline and flight related pet peeves. We've all seen them. We've all been in line with them. We've even seen them on the airplane with us, the inconsiderate passengers, the entitled ones who think that they should be able to demand anything they want from the flight crew. And by anything, I'm going to let you use your imagination because I know some that have asked for some very way out there stuff. Yeah, Mark, we're going to cover that in a few minutes, but yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. The other pet peeve we have, and it's a lot of times it's something we don't have any control over, is the flight delays or cancellations. Now, a delay or cancellation caused by weather, the only way that's going to change is if you have a direct line to God and He goes, done, your plane is back on time. Uh, not going to happen, generally speaking, because I think God has a reason for everything that goes on, even the storms that might cause our flights to be slightly delayed or even canceled. Hotel and accommodation annoyances. Yeah, there's probably a lot more than what I put on here, but I kind of tried to boil it down. Poorly designed rooms. And Cruz and Chris, you might have something more to say about this because of accessibility issues. But I've been in a few rooms that you walk in, you're like, who the heck designed this thing? Somebody that works at Cracker Jack? Most of the rooms I've been in are laid out pretty much the same. You walk in, bathroom's right there by you. You walk into the big room. Depending on how it's laid out, you got one or two beds on one wall. You got a dresser with maybe a TV on the other wall, and over in the corner you might have a chair, a table. Let's face it, they don't um, decorate most of those hotels out for style, unless you're paying. If you're paying $400 a night for a room, there should be some really cool stuff in that room for you to enjoy. Parking fees. I don't know how many times I hear people looking at hotels and they don't realize that there's a fee to park your car at the hotel you have a reservation to stay at. And a lot of times they don't disclose that when you pay for your hotel room. I think that's supposed to be changing if it hasn't already. But I think all those types of fees need to be disclosed up front. Hey, if you're going to stay at this hotel, it's going to cost you $30 a night to park your car here. You got to pay $30 for the privilege of having your car at your hotel. Yeah, not really the nicest thing to walk into. You've got resort fees that a lot of hotels are going to, and I heard somebody, I think it was Plum Crazy the other night, was thanking Las Vegas for how that's coming into being. All those hidden costs that nobody knows about are showing up when you check in or possibly when you check out. Lately, we've seen a lot of housekeeping issues, housekeeping not showing up. I know that at Disney World, they're basically in every 2 or 3 day housekeeping, and that they come in to redo the sheets and change out the towels and all that stuff. Theoretically, they do um, a sweep through your room to get trash, recycling, any of that kind of stuff. Morning, Caleb. Welcome in, bud. But it's just it's kind of annoying when I don't really care if it's just me. Even in my cruise cabin, I wouldn't care if the cabin attendant just came in to make sure I had everything I needed. But um, yeah, uh, I don't need them to come in every day. Every other day is fine. Every third day is fine. And Mark, you mentioned slamming doors on the cruise ship. Slamming doors in your hotel, on your cruise ship, anywhere. It's annoying. Is there really a need for that to occur when you're on vacation? I don't think so. So, Caleb, I don't have a need for mods right now. And if I do, I will decide who that will be. Thank you. I appreciate that. Overpacking and luggage issues. Have you ever been behind somebody getting ready to check in for your flight and they put their bag on the scale and start to walk away and the person behind the counter goes, "Whoa, wait a minute. You're 10 pounds over." We're already paying for bags, but if it's more than that, if it weighs more than what they're asking, you're going to pay an additional fee for that if they even let it on the plane. Lost or delayed luggage. Yeah, that's always an issue, especially when you're dealing with airlines. And people are people. I understand that, um, the luggage handlers, they're human. They make mistakes. They do their best to try and um, keep that all straight. And I think with the scanners and everything they've got now, it's probably gotten a little better. Um, I have only flown nonstop flights, so I haven't, but I have a connecting flight coming up for our trip in November. I connect through Reagan in Washington, D.C., going down, and I believe it's Charlotte coming back. So, not real sure how that's going to go with the change of planes, but it's my understanding that with major airlines, you can track your bags a lot. And then you have the issue of the full overhead bins. Why do people not put their bags in the bin that is right above their seat? Why do they have to put it all the way in the front when they sit all the way in the back? So, I don't know. Yeah, Cruiser Chris. I I don't know how observant the people working the counters are, but that just seems like, well, it is. It's cheating. Oh, yeah. Mark, yeah, you don't have what you need. Um, and maybe you've learned from that. I um I always try to pack at least a few things in my carry-on if I am checking baggage. I like to pack a fresh set of clothes, a complete set, just in case. Um, yeah, Chris, I'm looking into the possibilities of getting trackers for ours. I have an Android phone, so I'm sure there's something out there similar to AirTags. I just haven't looked into it yet. Yeah, Caleb, waiting along lines is a pain, and we're going to cover that here in just about right now. um, Tourist behaviors with crowds. You know, you're going to have it. If you're going to Walt Disney World, if you're going to Universal Florida, if you're getting on a cruise ship that's got a lot of kids, you're going to probably have issues with waiting in line, issues with waiting to get to where you want to go, issues waiting to get food. Um, let's just face it. Some places are just, they like that overcrowded because if you know you're coming and yeah, so they're just going to keep packing people in until there's no room to move anymore. You got to wonder how they judge that sometimes. Somebody's got to be keeping an eye on that kind of thing. Chris, I will look into those. I do have Samsung, and I will check into that probably as soon as we're done here. Selfie stick users. That's a big one for me. Although maybe not as big. When I first took my kids to Disney World back in 2012, selfie sticks were just becoming a thing. iPads were the big deal back then. And I had people in front of us sticking their arms all the way up with an iPad in their hand to shoot video of the nighttime fireworks or whatever the castle show was or the parade or whatever it was we were watching. And you want to talk about obnoxious. I mean, I couldn't see anything but what was on the iPad. And it wasn't a good view at all. So, language barriers are a big issue. Um, yeah, it's not as big a problem now, Mark, as it was because of the translation capabilities. But yeah, I get that. Journeys with JC, welcome in, my friend. It's good to have you here. Hey, you had a good live Wednesday night. I'm glad I was able to stick an ear on it on Thursday morning while I was driving. Really enjoy what you had to say. So, Cruising Chris, yeah, if there's any others you guys can think of, by all means, throw them up here because I did kind of run out of ideas. Oh, Cruising Chris, that's an issue anywhere. I had a kid just this week walk right in front of out in front of my bus because they were busy looking down at their phone and didn't pay attention to the fact that they were crossing number one against the light, and number two, it wasn't even in the crosswalk. So it's a good thing I was looking out for them because they sure as heck weren't looking out for me. By the way, I'm hoping for a future show to talk about the funny stories bus drivers have. I'm trying to get some stuff together for that because I think that'll be funny. It is to me, anyways. If it's funny to me, it'll be funny to you guys. So the question then remains, how do we avoid dealing with these issues? And yeah, Cruising Chris, I get that because I use a scooter when I go to Disney. Um, I, we have the Wright Pat Air Force Base close to where I live, and I use scooters there too because that place is huge. Luckily, their scooters don't cost anything; they're just first come first serve. So I make sure I'm there when the door opens. But yeah, people walk in front of you. People will cut in front of you and not even realize that hey, you're right there at their heel. Not trying to be, it just happens. I did learn to keep my finger on the speed control. And if it looked like somebody was coming on my way, I would turn all the way down. And I had a kid jump in front of me one time, didn't see the curb on the other side. I stopped. He hit the curb. I chuckled a little bit under my breath, but then I asked him if he was okay. So when it comes to avoid dealing with these issues, you want to plan ahead, especially if it comes to delays. If you're taking a plane or a train, uh, if there's weather in the area, make sure not only make sure that you have the app for your airline or for the rail service you're using or even bus service, make sure it's up to date because sometimes out of date apps won't give you the most current information. Sometimes you'll open it up and it'll be stuck on the information you got the last time. And if you're like me and don't take time to look at like timestamps, you might sometimes think that that's current information. So, Mark, it's a cool place. I like to go there. I try to get there every couple of years because there's always something new. That is on my list to go over and do some video shoots with. May have to do an overnight on that because I don't think you can cover that whole museum in one day, especially with everything they have to offer. When it comes to packing, pack smart. Take only what you absolutely need on your trip. I always try to leave room for at least a t shirt and a hat, something I might buy as a souvenir while I'm there. But I'm not opposed to washing a shirt out in the sink of my hotel or my cruise cabin and hanging it up and let it dry overnight so that it's fresh to wear another day. Plus, depending on how long I wear something, I may not even do that. If I only wear something for a couple hours, I haven't been out touring, sweated heavily. You know, if I've just gone to dinner and I manage to keep stuff off my shirt, I will then um, just mix it with something different. It's not like anybody's going to notice. If you pack, for lack of a better term, all matching clothes, you can have different styles of shirts and stuff, but have the same colors or complementing colors. This is coming from a colorblind person, so take that with a grain of salt. But I have found that that works pretty well for me, mostly. I didn't know you worked for Hobart. Yep, they make a lot of good stuff. Troy's a fun little town. Not always so easy to get to either. Yeah, I agree. I try to plan out if it's a port day, I try to plan what I'm going to wear in a particular port on that day and kind of keep it separated somehow. I do use packing cubes, so I might actually put port clothes in one packing cube and onboard clothes or non-touring clothes in another one, just so that I can keep straight in my head what I had planned to wear when. So that is something that I do. And also something I do is if I am taking something off, if I've worn something and I'm not going to wash it, I'll go ahead and refold it, but I'll use one of those packing cubes for my dirty laundry that I need to bring home to try and not mix the two. Otherwise, I end up doing all of it in the laundry again, and that seems like a waste of time to me. So, the one thing that you can do, I think, that would help a lot of these situations is be courteous. Treat the employees, especially as you want to be treated. They are working hard to earn that living, and they get a lot of the grief and stuff that um, just really it kind of irks me a little bit. Hang on a second, my seat is sinking. Ugh. I feel like I'm falling in a hole. Yeah, with me, you get what you get. I am who I am. Boo. Anyways, yeah, so pack your patience. If somebody's getting riled up in the line, I actually don't try to intercede, but I do try to step back a little bit to kind of give them the room just in case. I was with somebody in an airport once, and guess it's okay for me to tell a story. This is my stream, right? When I lived in Fort Lauderdale, my mother flew down one time and she brought in one suitcase all the Christmas presents that we were going to share. She came down for Christmas. And I want to say it was Braniff. I think Braniff took over People's Express, if I recall correctly. And we'd gone to the airport a few times to see if that bag had been found. We're pretty sure it never left Columbus. We're pretty sure that somebody, I don't want, but this was 40 years ago. Somebody working the bags back then figured out what was inside and they stole the bag. That's what we think happened. But we went to the airport and this friend of mine went with me and she had a mouth. She could be loud. She didn't care what she said or how she said it. She got so worked up about all this with the person at the counter that the Fort Lauderdale police that were on duty at the airport were coming down the hallway to talk to her and help get her settled down. That was the wrong way to go about it with her. I'm not sure what the right way would have been, maybe cold water. But I guess my point is it doesn't do any good to yell at the employees because, number one, they're going to feel less motivated to try and help you out. If you get up in their face, if you become threatening in your words or even in your actions, then you really don't give them any reason or any desire to help you. They will smile in your face and say, I can't do a thing for it, and send you on your way. So show a little kindness to the employees. It goes a long way, like Mark is pointing out here. And that's a good point, Mark. Do be genuine about it. Don't be egotistical about it. There is an ego behind some of that. And if it shows up, you're getting nothing from them. Nothing from them. The other thing that, let's see, let's look at what's next. Oh, pack your comfort items. And this kind of goes with some other things too. If you use a neck pillow, take it with you. Noise canceling headphones. I use an earbud that fits pretty tightly in my ear, and I play it at a low volume. And if somebody's traveling with me, I will ask them if it's too loud. If they say yes, I'll turn it down a little more. I don't care. I don't want to be the one who bothers other people sitting next to me. So, comfort items. I would also suggest packing some of that's where I would pack stuff that you can survive an overnight should your luggage get lost. Pack a change of clothes. Pack your swimsuit. If you're going on a cruise and you plan on being at the pool on your departure day, pack a swimsuit so you have something to change into once you get on the ship. Yeah, JC, that's a great idea. I have done that. Trash bags for your dirty clothes. And for the most part, they will compact well enough to go back in your suitcase. It just helps keep them separate from the clean things. And then finally, when it comes to avoiding these issues, I said it earlier, just stay patient. Be fluid when it comes to travel. Go early. So if there is a problem, you've got time to get it corrected, hopefully. If you're a last minute Michael and you're showing up, if your name's Michael, I don't mean any disrespect at all. But if you're a last minute person and you're expecting the airline to bend over backwards for you, if the flight's due to leave in 10 minutes and you're just now at the front counter, pretty good chance they're going to ask you to reschedule. Unless the flight is delayed for some legitimate reason, that plane is leaving without you. Same with cruise ships. This is why we tend to encourage people, especially if you're traveling more than a few hours away by car, get there the day before. Give yourself the time to get to the cruise port so that you don't miss your ship. If you spent a lot of money on these cruises, and let's face it, they ain't cheap. Last thing you want to do is be standing there as the ship is pulling away. Now, one thing I will say with all of this is if all else fails, just make sure that you've got travel insurance, because if you do have to spend any money out of your own pocket, then the travel insurance will at least give you the ability to get reimbursed at the other end. Airlines don't owe you anything, like I said before. If they come back to you and they say, yeah, this was our fault, they'll probably offer you something, but they probably have a hard top number of what they're going to give, monetarily, anyways. I have seen instances where something's happened and a representative from airline will take somebody to the gift shop and allow them to pick out a couple pieces of clothing or a toothbrush and toothpaste, stuff like that. I don't know if that's a common thing. I don't know how often that happens, but I suppose it can. So, yeah, Mark, agreed. That's my biggest issue all the time is those that come on and act like they own the world. I got no sympathy for them. They get what they get. And honestly, if somebody gives them what they ask for because of the way they're acting, isn't that rewarding bad behavior? I don't know. When I was a kid, my mom always taught me that was not the right way to go. So there's that. That's all I have on this topic. If anybody has anything else they want to throw in on traveling pet peeves or pet peeves of any kind, please feel free to throw it in there, and we'll talk about it. We'll hold up here for a few minutes. I want to thank everybody for joining in. I do want to point out, I've had a few people ask about support. I am right now, I'm at just under 100 subscribers. So I'm making progress, but not as much as possible. So if I could ask you guys to help share out the channel, so get people to ask people to come in and check us out. Ask them to subscribe if they find something that they really think is worthy of being here. And more than anything, make sure that the like button is getting hit. Uh, we started off really good. But it's trailed off a little bit. I know there's holidays and stuff going on. And speaking of which, I don't know what I'm going to do about the 4th of July just yet. Um, that is a Saturday. I may go ahead and go live. I'm not expecting anybody to join me. Um, next week, I'm hoping to have a special guest on. I haven't heard back from him yet, but we might be able to do Saturday. And then coming in August on the 8th, I have a special guest coming on to talk about the MSC Seashore. She was recently on it and did a video tour. I thought it was really good. So I got brave and I reached out and I invited her to come on, and she is going to join us on that day. Caleb, thanks for stopping by, bud. You have a good day. And so when she comes on, we're going to have a good time. We may have a panel discussion because that's going to be getting pretty close to our windows as far as stuff goes. And let me go and remind you, if you're going on the November 8th cruise with us, Mark, I'm looking at you, book it, just saying. Go ahead and do your check-in because my wife and I did ours already. And I got an earlier port time than I expected. And I'm glad because that'll give me time to check out the ship and maybe beat a few people to the buffet because I will be starving by then. But so we're going to talk about some hopefully different things about the ship. She's going to talk us through some of the things we need to know. Some of the idiosyncrasy. Every ship has an idiosyncrasy of some sort. So this young lady is going to come on and join us, and hopefully that'll be a really good show. So that's what we've got going on coming up. So let's move into the next portion of what we're doing here. Something's not working right. Give me a second here. I think I just waited too long to get this going. So here we go. There we go. All right. For this section, Mark, I haven't either. In fact, I've only been on 2 ships my entire life. So this is number 3 for my career. So, JC, thanks for stopping by, bud. Let us know when you're going live again so we can be there. And we'll see you around. Keep an eye out for JC's stuff, guys. He's really good. He's got a lot of good content going on his channel, so let's support him as well. For the faith section, I want to talk a little bit about relationship. As I mentioned earlier, somebody kind of came down hard on me about talking religion. And I know that no matter what your faith is, we can be religious about anything or anyone. In my case, and I think in most Christians that I know, it's more about the relationship. Now, I will go so far as to say, I know some people believe there is no God. And if there is no God, then my faith doesn't matter. Makes no difference whatsoever. My faith does not allow me to think that way. I do believe there is God. I believe there's only one God. I believe his son is the only way to God. That said, a lot of what we read in scripture has to do with relationship. Proverbs 18:24 says, "A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." And that friend is very much a part of my life. He has been a part of my life for, as I mentioned, I spent some time in Fort Lauderdale, almost 2 years. I spent a lot of that time on my own. I fell into things that I should not have fallen into. I got trapped because I was alone. I was relatively new in my faith. I had nobody to come alongside me and help me understand. There was no place in my life I felt I could go and talk about it. And in a way, I was just running. In my own way, I was running to stay ahead of whatever was coming after me. What I didn't realize is I was running straight into what the evil one had laid out in front of me. I am a sinful man still. But back then, I didn't know how to identify it as quickly. I didn't understand what it meant for me to turn away from the things that had ensnared me, the things that have had clogged up my life, fogged up my brain. And some of those things followed me for many, many years after that. But there did come a time when I realized I needed to stop running. You know what happened? Figuratively and literally, I turned around and Jesus was still there. He was still right by my side. I didn't know it, I didn't understand it, but that's where he was. I was surrounding myself with people who didn't know God, who didn't know who Jesus was. And I was following their examples as to what was fun, exciting. I got to drinking pretty heavily, and I don't like alcohol. But I was desperate for friendships back then, so I was willing to try almost anything. Almost. Just to feel like I was a part of something. And I hurt myself desperately because of that. Not physically, but emotionally. Yeah. Mark, I don't know about you, brother, but I pretty much have to start my day off with that prayer. Uh, it's not easy. It's not easy. And you know what that verse said about having too many? I think what that verse is really saying is a man of many companions may come to ruin is because we're putting ourselves in the midst of men or women, whatever the case may be, who are going to work hard to pull us away from what God really wants from us. They're going to distract us. They're going to pull us in a direction that goes farther and farther away. And there came a time when I chose And while it may have been some years back, it doesn't seem like it's been all that far because I feel like there's times, even still, I need to make the choice of who I'm going to follow. And I need to make the choice of how that looks. And for human beings, it's as important to choose what we do when nobody's looking as it is to choose what we do when everyone is looking. And I think when no one is looking is even more important because that is the test of character. That is the test of who we are. Humility takes practice, not false humility, not where you come up to somebody and you put the sad face on them, you know. That's not what I'm talking about. True humility comes from the heart. It takes the emotions that are involved. And I've had people tell me that as a Christian, I shouldn't weigh as much on emotions. But the Jesus that I know showed emotion all the time. When Lazarus died, he showed sadness. When the time was right, he showed anger. He had compassion for those around him. I don't know if that's an emotion. I think it is. And Jesus showed love to everybody. No matter how they treated him, his response was always in love and in humility and in kindness. So, how close are your closest friends? Are they people that you trust implicitly? Are they people that will stay with you no matter what? Or are the people that you think are your closest friends the ones that like to keep you at arm's length? They want you to be involved, but not necessarily directly with them. They want you to be available to listen to them when they have a need, but are conveniently gone when you need someone to lean on for a moment. Now, I'm not talking about somebody who wants to sit around all day and share their sappy, sad song stuff. No. We all need someone to come alongside of us for a season. That season could be an hour, could be a day, could be a week, but it's usually not long lasting. And I don't know about you, but for me, I'm glad that Jesus stays close by because this promise from Hebrews 13:5, I will never leave you nor forsake you. That is the closest friend we can have. And there can be nobody closer. Yeah, Mark, sadly, as we get older, more of that's going on. As I shared a few shows ago, I lost my brother. It's been about 3.5 years now. And he was the closest relative I had. And honestly, since he died, since my mom and dad died, I have almost no contact with anybody from my extended family. My cousin Pam, who you all saw in here last week, is has always been more of a sister than a cousin. I value her opinion, and I think she values mine as well. So, I don't know what is the definition of a close friend. That's something to contemplate for this week, isn't it? Because honestly, I'm 65. The closest friend I have is my wife. But I can't talk to her about everything. There are some things a man wants to talk to another man about. I had somebody recently tell me that they consider me one of their closest friends, and yet they don't really spend time talking to me except for if we're in church together or at a function together. We don't really hang out. There were some things that happened a few years ago I didn't know anything about until everybody else did. So I don't know what it is to be a friend because I've never really had friends. I've tried to be a friend. And Alberta, I couldn't agree more. It's only because of God that we have the strength to carry on. And it's my hope that we will carry on as we move forward. Well, I appreciate everybody stopping in. I appreciate JC coming in and spending some time with us. Mark, Alberta, you're always faithful. Caleb, thanks for popping in, bud. I appreciate it. And anyone else who's been watching that I didn't necessarily see in the chat, or anybody who's watching the replay, I really, really do appreciate all that you do and what it means to us. So thank you for being here. I do have the ability to accept a little support here and there if anybody's interested. I do have a Patreon account now. I've been hesitant to let that out, but I'm going to because there may come a time where I can't afford to keep doing this. Because let's face it, I'm just me. Mark, you and I need to talk, bud. Something tells me if you and I were together in person, we would be friends. And I think we are friends. So, yeah, let's figure out a way to get together either virtually or in real life and let's talk about what can be done. Alberta, you're a sweetheart. And I really do appreciate you. Thank you for being here. But I think for now, that's about all I got. I got a couple of errands I got to run before we watch ships departing out of Port Canaveral or wherever we might be watching. So for now and until next time, may God bless you, my friends. My prayers are with you always. We'll see you next time.
Hey!